What is up, guys? It is Koinonia Trader here. It is the first trading day of June. I almost said first of the month. It's not the first of the month. Today's the 2nd of June. But yeah, I mean, we had some pretty solid price action this morning. We had some pretty good setups show up. So let's get into it. Right here we have the 4-hour chart in front of us. The biggest thing that I was watching was the fact that we did come and sweep out that low right here. And you can see there is a prominent swing low right here that's sitting inside of a 4-hour fair value gap, where we did have a wick down into it, but no body closures. So that's like the first tall tale sign of, okay, maybe this could be a liquidity sweep to move back on higher. Especially because we needed to retrace out of this, right? We did have a quote unquote market structure shift here, but honestly, it's kind of sloppy. It's not, we needed a retracement on this eventually. So I think this could either be the retracement, or we could be coming in to put in a lower high now to then continue going down lower. So we'll see what the reaction is here overnight. But for today, you know, seeing as to how we were in this area, and then on the hourly chart, we did not have a strong body closure below this 1 hour fair value gap that we created overnight. Let me take off the macro indicators here so you can see this better. We did have a bearish fair value gap created. We invalidated that. A bullish fair value gap created. We, you know, it did have a weak closure, but overall we started to move back on higher. The biggest thing that I also noticed was the daily opening level was right here, where we did create that lower wick, touch down, and then started to come back higher. Now moving back up to the daily open, if we ended up getting a closure above or a strong push above, I would have expected us to be bullish for the day. Now on the 15-minute time frame, the biggest thing here that made me realize that we were going to end up being bullish for the day was the fact that we did come into this buy side level right here of liquidity, and this was the sweep that everybody wanted to go lower. It was the previous day's high. We were inside of a 4-hour fair value gap, but as you can see, the structure overall still held as bullish structure. And if you look, we had a 15-minute fair value gap right here that we failed to take out. Now we did push through it. We did have a wick down below it, but there was no body closure below. So that gave me the feeling that we were going to move higher, especially that we closed above on the 15-minute chart over the daily open, and then we failed to close back below it, and we were just rejecting from that there. Also, the 10 o'clock open for the 4-hour power of 3, we put in that lower wick and then never revisited that level ever again. So that just showed me that we wanted to move higher. We had a 15-minute fair value gap right here. Going down to the 5-minute time frame, we also invalidated this bearish fair value gap right there. So the trade that I took today was during the 1050 macro right here. And if we drop down to the 1-minute time frame, you'll see that at this point I was very bullish. There was no reason for me to look for shorts whatsoever. And as you can see, we have a bearish 1-minute fair value gap that as soon as that gets invalidated, I market order in. I put my stop below this swing low right here. This swing low right there, and we start to push back down into it a couple times. We did not get stopped out. I was targeting the high of day, and as you can see, this was consolidating for a very long time, and then eventually we did hit our take profit. But if you look on the videos on Instagram and TikTok, you see that I took out the majority of my position here, and I held one runner, and I actually closed out that runner around this area just because of how price was moving. I didn't want to stick around in the market for too long, but I'm not upset about it. It's Monday. It's only Monday. I took a nice trade. And overall, it's still money in my pocket. So I'm not concerned about the risk to reward on that one. It did hit about a 1 to 1.2, which is still positive, right? It's over 1 to 1. Not ideal. I like to have 1 to 1.5s and higher. But overall, if I did have time to stay at the charts, seeing as to how this price action was moving, if I had held my runner into the end of the day, I could have banked a little bit more on this trade. As you can see, we pushed back above here at the close, and it would have been a solid, I don't know how much, 1 to 3. Okay, so still a good setup, right? The key thing here is watching the order flow. Everybody here was bearish just because it swept a level of buy side liquidity. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are bearish once it does that. You have to see price do certain things in the market to be able to truly be bearish. And in this example, just because we swept that level, swept with quotation marks, because we didn't really sweep it, it was literally just a tap and then retracement and then continuation higher. That's just an area where we could reject from to get that retracement. We needed to see a closure back below the daily open. We needed to see a 15-minute invalidation of that fair value gap as well. And because we failed to get those things, and overall this structure here was still bullish, then we continued to move on higher. So don't get tricked by these levels getting taken out. Like, just because price moves up into previous day high does not mean start taking shorts. Just because it takes out London lows does not mean to start taking longs. It has to go in accordance with the market structure. And if you're not paying attention to that, you're going to end up taking more losses than you really need to. So hopefully you guys ended up green today. This was the only trade that I took. And yeah, we'll see what tomorrow brings, guys. Peace.